Link, wake up! It has been 8 years! Welcome to the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. It's maybe my favorite game. 8 years ago, kid me thought this game was amazing because you could climb every mountain, pet every dog, even speedrun getting late. 8 years later, I'm studying architecture and because of that I'm seeing things a little differently. Things that make me appreciate this game even more than I already did. It's the architecture. And there's not just one style of architecture across the world of Breath of the Wild. Hyrule Castle, for example, has many elements of Gothic structures, while Zora Domain shares similarities with Art Nouveau. Even Dorito, Goron and Gerudo all have their own style of architecture corresponding with the culture and location. Among all these buildings and structures, there's always one that seemed off. One that always looked weird. Catching my attention because of that is the architecture of the ancient Sheikah. There was something mesmerizing about the flowing ornaments, the lightning, even the structure itself. But the more I looked into it, the less it made sense. Unlike every other building in this game, the architecture of the ancient Sheikah doesn't share similarities with already existing styles and structures, as if the design was taken out of thin air with nothing to point to as a reference. It looked alien and out of its place, like the Hope for Silksong coming out this year. And that's what I thought, until I decided to go back one more time to this game I know and love. So join me on my journey to unravel the architecture of the ancient Sheikah. The first thing we need to do is to activate all of the structures. There's also something called a story in this game, but we'll ignore it for the most part. The lore about the Sheikah and the structures is that they disappeared one day, just like your dad, but hey, look at that, at least one of them is back. There are 3 types of structures I want to discuss. The first one is the shrine, counting 120 of them. You'll see these things all over Hyrule, but more about that later. The second one is the tower. There are 15 of them, with each province having their own. This is the first thing you want to visit before exploring a new area. The last one is a Shrine of Resurrection. It's the place where the game begins. Unlike the other structures, this one is unique. There is just one. I won't discuss the Divine Beasts because they are more like vehicles than they are structures. A mechanical engineer can explain those things better. Making our way to the first shrine, you'll see the variety of things you can do in this game, like slaughter, violating the public order and play rhythm games. And while we are on our way, let me explain the general design principles found in the architecture of the Sheikah. These are the things you'll see in every building and relic of theirs. Earlier I said the architecture looked weird, alienated even. That's simply for one reason. The design originates from Jomon, I just called Jomon pottery. The exact pronunciation doesn't really matter, its significance for the architecture is more than enough. Jomon pottery is a type of ancient earthenware pottery which was made in the, you guessed it, Jomon period in Japan. These kinds of pottery have been dated to be as early as 16,000 years old. No wonder it looks so weird. This is a design that's lost in time. These relics got the design because the potters weren't familiar enough with the potter's wheel. Because of that, they used their hands to form long coils of clay. Through circling them upwards in a spiral, they were able to create such ceramics. And apparently this pottery wasn't just used for storing water or food, it was a medium to convey ideas and beliefs. Every swirl and line tells a story on its own. In a video about the making of Breath of the Wild, the developers also confirmed that the Jomon period was the inspiration for the Sheikah structures and the relics in the game. They chose this because the Jomon period is relatively unknown to the rest of the world, causing a nuance of mystery and wonder in the design. By grounding Sheikah design in a real-world history, they gave the architecture authenticity and depth. They didn't only make the design mysterious, they made it real too, as if there really was an ancient culture with profound knowledge of the world. Let's see how they implemented this in the structures. Every structure has a base made out of black stone. You can see this as the canvas where the architect paints the ornament on it. The black stone serves as a contrast to the vibrant glowing patterns above. The ornament can be divided in 3 parts. The Sheikah logo making these buildings look as if a company like Apple created them. The eye-like shape with a teardrop is an emblem of wisdom, a statement of identity. There are also points of light connected with lines. There are some theories that it depicts the stars and constellations from the night sky above Hyrule. And at last, of course, the swirling trails of clay surrounding the black surface. These clay patterns define the impression of the architecture, and when I looked a bit closer I saw how. You see, the Jomon coils also can be divided into 3 parts. There are the large twists creating the form, surrounding these are the smaller twists creating depth. And around these smaller twists are sinuous patterns to create texture. It's because of these parts that the literal piece of black stone can be made interesting and mesmerizing to look at. A facade is created as an assemblage of layers. These elements can be found in the shrines, towers, divine beasts, and even your Sheikah slate. What I've just explained is the foundation of Sheikah architecture. And here we are. In Breath of the Wild, the shrines are a test of courage. The shrines contain puzzles creating an intellectual challenge for 9-year-olds and the average IGN journalist. When completing the challenge, you get rewarded a spirit orb. Looking at the shrine from the outside, you see all of the elements discussed before. In the book How to Create a Champion, the developers gave some concept designs for the shrine, and these designs have more direct similarities to Yeoman pottery, but they feel very futuristic at the same time. It shows us that the developers didn't just copy Yeoman pottery, they reinterpreted it. They blended the organic shapes with glowing lines of technology, creating a fusion of past and future. They also remind me a bit of Buddhistic stupas. Those are structures and contain relics of Buddhist monks and saints, just like these shrines. Only stupas don't have bottomless pits you can fall into. The shrine is a tomb for the monk, and because of that they represent something sacred. The shrines were for a long time not able to open, they symbolized only the passage from one state to the next. The element blocking the entrance is a door, one encrusted with technology and at the same time keeping its symbolic identity with the markings on it. The shrines and the doors adapt automatically to changing stimuli, making it very similar to one construction from the pneumatics by the hero of Alexandria. They talk about the construction of a small temple such that, on lighting a fire, the door shall open spontaneously. Sounds familiar? Advanced technology, no matter how futuristic, is often rooted in ancient ideas and principles. The door also shares similarities with the door in Castle Nuovo, a hefty bronze door used as a fortification, where sheer bulk is the most enduring strategy to ensure the door doesn't become a weak point. Both designs convey the sense of impenetrability, but the Sheikah door take this a step further. While the bronze doors only rely on physical strength and material durability, the Sheikah doors do the same but with intelligence and adaptability on top of it. It reflects to us that the strength of the Sheikah doesn't lie in brute force but in wisdom and innovation. The outside of the temple is full of organic forms favoring expression in its design. The exterior draws you in, capturing your imagination with complex patterns and glowing details. The inside of the temple is much more focused on the functional aspect. It strips away distractions, letting you focus on the challenge at hand. Every surface is plain, creating rooms with only the intention to challenge the hero. It gives off a minimalist approach, creating a sense of purity. As if the space itself has been untainted by the outside world, it creates a sanctuary for the mind where creativity can flourish. Something remarkable about the inside of the shrines is the illuminated ceiling. It reminds me of the modular ceilings in the Los Angeles Hall of Records, where the ceiling is made to be a floating plane of light. Because of this source of light, the shrine gets a soothing atmosphere, making the rooms feel open and airy. And by creating an artificial source of light, you lose the sense of time when trying to beat the shrines. By the way, I chose to do the bomb shrine first, so the rest of the game becomes, let's say, a little bit easier. Like the Phoenicians with the Parthenon, I use bombs as the one and only solution for everything in this game, even for beating the shrines. And when you beat the shrine, you see a monk, rewarding you for your achievement. It's a definite endpoint of the shrine, and because of that it's more special than the rest. To reach the monk, one must climb a stair. It may not be a big thing, but it sets the atmosphere right. The one you're going to meet is someone of importance, someone special. The one you're going to meet is someone to look up to. Even when you're right in front of him, he sits on an altar, assuring he's always higher than you are. The roof above him is clearly inspired by the roof of a Japanese pagoda. And in the Japanese architecture, the roof is more than simply a part of the structure. Its deeply overhanging eaves not only shelter those within from the elements, it also generates a space beneath it. A space that's neither in nor out. This space invites contemplation and introspection. The guardian of the shrine exists on the edge of two worlds, the material and the spiritual. A duality reflected in the architecture. It's this magical, almost sacred extension of space that lends the roof such a symbolic air. Alright, one shrine done, 3 more to go. You can really enjoy the wildlife of the Great Plateau, like the butterflies, fish and the sentient rock. To progress somewhat in this Forsaken game, we need to go to the next shrine. Luckily we can skip most of it by using this cool bomb trick, but sadly I'm not good enough on the sticks, so I did it the normal way. Until I decided my ego wasn't high enough, getting punished right away. Luckily I did get better in the time I got to the 3rd shrine. After violating a bokoblin, abusing a Korok and playing another rhythm game, we arrive at the last shrine. And after trying for maybe 10 minutes, I skipped 20 seconds of gameplay. And after completing the last shrine and getting scared by the spirit of affordable housing, and get it, he's dead, we finally made our way to the Sheikah tower. They stand tall against the horizon as a beacon of progress and discovery. Originally, these towers were constructed to detect signs of Calamity Ganon's return, as seen to the antennas on top of it. They also function as an observation deck storing map data the hero can retrieve. Let's say one of its functions didn't really work out. That's foreshadowing, by the way, or aftershadowing because it already happened, I don't know. The tower consists of two parts, the shaft and the deck. The shaft is a strange one, consisting of a smaller inner shaft while a porous hexagonal wall surrounds it. It serves a functional purpose, allowing air and light to penetrate the structure. Between every side there is a column. These columns have the same black stone and clay yeoman pedest used for shrines. Sometimes the column thickens, this may be for the constructional support. And between the columns there is a porous wall serving as a ladder for people to climb the tower. It's amazing how a functional necessity can be turned into such an elegant design feature. Platforms are present to let the climber rest in the journey to the top. Arriving at the top, you see a cone-shaped mechanism, most likely the sensor that collects map data. It's streamlined, suggesting efficiency was the main focus. It has a futuristic appearance, forming a strong contrast with the rest of the tower. When activating the tower, energy pulses from the shaft. Wait, that sounded wrong. To be blunt, the Sheikah towers are nothing more than just a line and a plane. The line forms a vertical axis, guiding your gaze to the heaven. The plane points your view to the horizontal axis, causing a connection with the human world and the principles of the universe. When you open a structure to the outside, by let's say not giving it walls like the deck of the tower, the attention of the person is forced to the environment. The plane only gets disrupted by a threshold, marking the end of the deck. If we take a look at the alternative designs of the developers, we see a different approach to the tower. The plane gets almost entirely removed, focusing more on the line. These towers are more aesthetically pleasing, but when you realize they also need to function as a guarding post, it becomes a much different story. The towers we have in-game are more focused on functionality. Beauty is not its first priority. We also saw the same with shrines. The form is purely functional, only with ornament on the base structure to brighten it up. Form follows function. The architect Louis Sullivan would be proud. That's all I can say about the Sheikah Tower, so let's go down. It really offers a moment of reflection, a chance to appreciate the journey we've had so far. After sacrificing spirit orbs for extra health, using explosives to solve our problems and getting pens, we finally are at the end of the tutorial. An old man tells us some lore that I think is important. Apparently something about Ganon crashing the stock market in 2008, causing a housing crisis that lasted for 100 years. Silly Ganon. But enough about that, we still have one building to visit. The Shrine of Resurrection is the beginning and it will be the end. It's the anchor for the entire game. The name already suggests the theme of renewal and rebirth, setting a tone for the hero's journey immediately. The Shrine of Resurrection is a restoration room where the hero slept for 100 years trying to regain his powers. You can say it serves as a link to the past. In design and layout, the Shrine of Resurrection shares similarities with the throne room in Hyrule Castle. It gives the idea that this game is a cycle with each step echoing the one before. The Shrine of Resurrection consists of the Chamber of Resurrection and the antechamber with connecting stairs to the outside. At the Chamber of Resurrection we see the care unit. It grows from the ceiling as if they are phased from a heart, just like the placenta covering Calamity Ganon. In both instances they depict something giving life. The columns assemble two phases stacked on top of each other. Before you can take the stairs, you are forced to go down a ramp. It's a strange choice of the designer. Why does one first need to go down before one may go up? The ramp can be seen as an architectural element and changes the system that triggers revolution. Ramps announce a new age, a new person, a new life. It directs the gaze downwards, leaving unknown what's at the end of the road. They create conscious bodies accepting gravity and therefore existence, living as a permanent struggle of overcoming life. And when the hero goes down the ramp, lifting himself upwards on the stairs, he is greeted with a pleasant light. But when following that light he sees the entirety of Hyrule. He sees a darkness, reminding him of his failure and of his task.